Now, when I tell you what this thing is, one of two things is going to happen. Either you're not going to be Now, when I tell you what this thing is, one of two things is going to happen. Either you're not going to like the answer and you're not going to be mentally strong enough to see through the process, and that's fine. Or you'll be one of the few who will be mentally tough enough and who will stick around to hear me out. If you're still listening, then good for you. Let's get straight into it. Now, I'm not going to be talking about a certain program that's going to get you the best results. I'm going to be talking about the best supplements or a super magic pill that'll get you results fast. Instead, I'm going to be laying out some hard truth in the form of patience and consistency. I was thinking about this on the way to work today, and I've been thinking about it a lot lately. The biggest factor in any success with building muscle is being patient and being consistent over a long time. Let me give you an example. When I first started out, and even actually now, I still don't have the patience that I need to have. During my last bulking process, I got impatient and I actually stopped tracking my food for a long while and just focused on eating a lot of food. And while this helped to build muscle, I also ended up putting on a lot more fat than I should have because I was impatient. If I took my time, looked to the long term, and tracked my food and did what I knew I had to do, then I wouldn't have so much fat to take off now. And in the end, I did still get to a point where I had built muscle, but if I was more patient and more consistent with what I knew I had to do, I would have got to a lot better place. And me saying that is a big thing because I am very patient already. Like the last time I competed was back in 2014. So that's 7 years ago now, and I've only just decided to finally step back on stage again. I dabbled with it quite a few times over the last few years, but I knew I just wasn't ready. Even now, I'm not sure that I'm ready, but I was starting to get a bit tubby, so I thought it was time to start cutting down anyway, so may as well compete at the same time. Now, the reason that it is so important, there's multiple reasons, and the reason that a lot of people would have logged off at the start is because it's a hard truth. If people want to be patient, and if people were willing to put in the patience and knew that the patience was so important, then things like liposuction wouldn't exist, the skinny tea wouldn't exist, steroids wouldn't exist, and they wouldn't be so popular. Now, in saying that, I've got no issue with people using steroids at all. It's a whole different case there because they may want to get to the elite level, and if you want to get to the elite level, then you won't be able to do that without steroids if you're going to like elite Olympian level bodybuilding in the untested category. Now, I won't go into that full detail, but my whole rule of thumb is I've got no issue with it. Getting back to the main point. So, if you wanted to be patient, those things wouldn't exist. And there wouldn't be so many issues with metabolism, with body dysmorphia, with all these issues to do with food. Because the issue is people always want the magic pill. And the magic pill ends up leading to a number of problems, some of which I just mentioned. The biggest issue I'm facing is people keep getting told all the time to just cut out their food straight away. And while this is a quick fix and it will work, the issue is you're completely screwing out your metabolism. And it'll mean that over the long term, because you haven't been patient, you're going to put that weight back on again. So patience is so important. And that's just for fat loss. With building muscle, if you're not patient with building muscle naturally, you're going to give up. Because there's going to be times, in the first year, this is a dangerous one, this is where it really tricks you. In that first 6 months to a year, you're going to pretty much adapt to anything that you do. If you're training 3 days a week, you're going to adapt. If you're training 2 days a week, you're going to adapt. as long as you eat enough food. Even if you're not eating enough food in some cases, just because you're so new to it, your body just reacts so well. And it tricks you into thinking that this is going to be so quick for the rest of your life. It's always going to happen this fast. And it's a complete lie. After that first year, the progress is just going to slow over time because your body has got that threshold where it just gets closer and closer to its max. And nobody knows where their max is. I don't know where my max is, and neither does anybody else. But it does slow down over time. And if you're not patient, then you're just going to give up. Like there was a year where I didn't think, there's multiple years actually, where I just didn't think I'd made any progress at all, because you'd look in the mirror all the time and you wouldn't see changes. Now, if you took a photo from the start of that year to the start of the next year, then you would see gradual changes there, little changes over time. But they're minute. They're not huge changes. It's not like when you first start out and then you see your friends a year later and they're like, wow, you've gotten massive. It doesn't happen that fast. So that's where the consistency and the patience becomes involved. And the consistency as well, going on to that factor, you can have the worst program in the world, and I always preach this to clients, you can have the worst program in the world, but if you're consistent with it over time, then you're going to get results. Like I've always wanted to dabble in the idea of having somebody on the exact same program as when they first started and just slowly increasing the load and just see how their progress was. It's not practical because people get bored and it's just not going to happen. But I've always just been interested by that idea. I believe the consistency of doing it over a long term is so much more important than having a perfect program. Would having a perfect program and having consistency help and make you do so much better? Hell yes. It's like the exact same thing of hard work and talent. If you had talent and you worked hard, then you're going to get to the top straight away. But if you have talent and don't work hard, then you're not going to see it through to the end. You're not going to get to the point where you want to. In the same respect, if you do hard work but don't have talent, you're going to grind the whole time. You can still get there, but it's going to be a grind. And if you have both of them together, straight to the top. So the same with consistency and having a good program. So consistency and patience, it's always going to be something I'm going to preach constantly. Even if you think you're being patient, you're probably not being patient enough. Results may take 6 months, they may take a year, they may take 3 years. If you're seeing little changes over a month period, over a 2 months period, that's awesome. Just don't give up on the progress. Take your time, do what you know is right, and be consistent and patient over the long term. So that is the video. I feel like this one wasn't one of my cleanest ones. I went on a few different tangents, but hopefully I got the main point across and it helped a few people. If you like my videos, please give it a like below. Do the subscribe thing, do all the good things and make me happy. And please check out my other videos as well. So far I've been making them every day. I'm up to day 6 in a row, which doesn't sound massive, but I'm enjoying it. And I'm glad that I'm helping a few people. Even if there's no views, I'm still enjoying it. And I'll keep doing it as long as I can, as long as I enjoy it. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.